everyone, I'm Esther from Essy Cooks, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a delicious kale and quinoa salad. This is a roasted kale and quinoa salad, which is so amazing. Now this one is a bit of work, but it is totally worth it, and I recommend having this as a meal. You can add some extra protein on it, or you can even use this for meal prep. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make this.
Now we're going to start by cooking 1 1/4 cup of dry quinoa according to the package instructions. I'm cooking mine in vegetable broth, which adds a lot of flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and let that cook while I preheat the oven to 450 degrees. Then I'm going to rinse 1 can of chickpeas.
Now we're just going to add our rinsed and drained chickpeas onto our parchment paper here. I've got a large baking sheet. I'm going to use about half of it for my kale and half of it for my chickpeas. I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil, about a tablespoon or so. And on my chickpeas, I'm going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder, about 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Then I'm just going to add a little salt and pepper. These taste so good like this. All right, and then with clean hands, we can just mix that together to evenly coat the chickpeas.
Then we're going to thoroughly wash and dry 1 head of kale.
All right, now I have a whole bunch of kale, just a large bunch like this, and I'm going to chop this up just to bite-sized pieces. So you want to remove your ribs and stems here. You can just rip it off like this, or you can use this technique, which you grab your tongs, you put the stem through, just like that. How fun is that? So I'm going to continue doing that with the rest of my kale. So now I'm just going to gather up my kale just to make it a little bit easier. And I just like to chop this into nice bite-sized pieces. And kale can be quite bitter on its own, but if we give it a little bit of massage, a little bit of love with some olive oil, it's actually going to take away that bitterness. So we just want to do a nice drizzle, again, about a tablespoon or so of extra virgin olive oil. And then you can start just massaging and working it into the kale. Kale needs a little love. So just like this, you just massage it in. You'll notice it starts to get smaller. The color can start to change a little bit just from massaging in the olive oil, and it's going to get softer and more tender. So that's what we want, just a minute or two of nice deep tissue massage.
Now I'm just going to add that kale onto the same baking sheet as the chickpeas.
Now I have my cooked quinoa. I'm going to place that onto my second baking sheet with parchment paper. Because I used vegetable broth, I'm actually not going to add any salt, but if you cooked your quinoa with water, I would generously just sprinkle some salt over top of the quinoa, and also a little bit of olive oil, again, just to make it nice and crispy. About a tablespoon or less should do the trick. We want to spread that around evenly so that it's going to get nice and crispy.
Now my quinoa, my kale, and my chickpeas are all ready to go into the oven at 450 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. The kale is going to roast the fastest, so we're going to keep an eye on that. And I'm going to give my dog a little piece of the kale stem because she loves it for some reason, which is so funny. And then I am just going to check on those, every 5 minutes just to see if they need to be tossed around a little. Then I'm going to make my balsamic dressing here. So I have 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, 3 tablespoons of thick, nice quality balsamic vinegar, and then to tie it all together, we're going to add in half a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, salt and pepper to taste, and I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. The maple syrup is optional, but I think it adds a lot of delicious sweetness to the dish, and I would highly recommend it if you like maple syrup. So now I'm just going to put the lid on my little mason jar there, and I'm just going to shake this until it's nice and combined, and that is our perfect, delicious balsamic dressing we're going to be putting on this warm kale salad. So Now I'm going to check on my quinoa. You can see the top is crisping, but the bottom is not crisp at all. So that's why we need to flip it and really keep our eye on this. However, at this point, it's been about 12 minutes. My kale is done. You can see the texture here. We want it to still have a little bit of a bite to it, but be lightly crisped on the outside. So you can see the consistency, the texture there. I'm just going to pull that out and set it aside. But my chickpeas, I'm going to spread them out on the baking sheet, and my quinoa, I'm going to put those back in the oven. They need to continue roasting until they're nice and crispy. This can be another 10 to 20 minutes depending, so keep checking on it. You want to check the consistency and see that it's crispy how you like it. You can see here when we zoom in on everything how it's nice and golden brown, and that is exactly what we're looking for. We don't want it burnt. Then we're going to start assembling our salad. So in a big salad bowl, we are going to add in our crispy kale, crispy quinoa, our roasted chickpeas, and we are going to top that with our delicious balsamic vinegar. So if you're going to serve it right away, you want to add the dressing right away. If not, you can wait to add the dressing until you are ready to serve. We're going to toss that to combine, and then we're going to add a couple of toppings. So we're going to add a 1/4 cup of just slivered almonds, and you can add some vegan Parmesan cheese on there to top it all off.
Taste test time.
Taste test time.
It smells nice.
Thank you.
It looks nice.
So good.
Beautiful melody. It's a symphony of flavors.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video and you want to see more like this, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below.